Happy Thursday. Good morning and welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. And you know those days where you just ain't feeling it? I'm having one. I think it's a combination of things, but a piece of it is yesterday my coffee group and I, who are together doing a book study, did an activation that was part of this particular book, and holy balls, rocked my world. It was powerful. So I think I'm just a little, got to settle in a bit again. Good morning, Carolyn. Welcome. Thank you for sharing Miss Piggy and Kermit. That's always a good start to the day. So we'll give it a minute for everybody to roll in. Good morning, Abigail. Welcome. Glad you are here. It is so flippin' cold. I think it's 0 degrees right now, but with the wind chill -6. So not my kind of day. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome. You Southerners, send some of that heat up here. This is not fun. And 0 degrees doesn't mean absence of temperature. So yeah, kind of chilly today. And I do have to venture forth, which is, usually this particular group meets on Zoom, but of course this time we decided to do it live. So I'll put on my long underwear and away we'll go. Thank you for all the hearts in the rainbow. Thank you for all the stars and swirls. I appreciate it. Some sparkles in there. So we have, and when I was picking for today, getting the guidance on, okay, is it one of the card decks? Is it Tosha? Is it, whatever? It ends up being Tosha. And when I was holding the book, I was thinking to myself, I've read every part of this book, backwards, forwards, upside down, inside out, the whole, what else can it possibly tell me? And then I opened to the page and it was like, oh, spot on. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. 48 degrees. That sounds a whole lot better than 0. A whole lot better than 0. But, yep, here we are. Welcome to Wisconsin. So, I'm hoping this chapter chimes for everyone the same way it's chiming for me. And, but again, to prepare ourselves. Good morning, Jo Neal. Welcome. Glad you're here. Let's do a little tapping. Pick your spot. Actually, maybe the reset would be a good one, given the reorienting I'm needing to do after our little invocation yesterday. Man, that thing was powerful. The basic gist of it was meeting a goddess on the beach who is a winged one, and she envelops you in those protective wings. Good morning, Janine. Glad you're here. And then you're basically renouncing, letting go of all the limiting crap that you've learned over the course of a lifetime. And then embracing the powerful you. Good morning, Barb. Welcome. Glad you are here. So it was like, whoa. So now I just need to settle into that a bit. So again, pick your spot to tap. Good morning, Mel. Thank you for the sparkles in the wave and the heart. Appreciate it. This is good. Breathing deeply and easily. We always have to add the breath. All right, so for those of you who have the book, Tosha Silver, Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Take the Lead. In my book, it's page 7, so way to the beginning. In the beginning, it's called What If God Were All of Us? What if God were all of us? And some of your names are rolling repeatedly here, so there's probably good stuff in here for you. Again, those of you who love to be my scribes, if you hear something that you think that's worth capturing, type it into the feed so that everybody can read it again and again. So there's 2 quotes. Again, you all know my belief is when we have a chapter with 2 quotes, it's going to be a good one. First quote is from Joan Osborne. What if God were one of us? Just a stranger on the bus. And the second one is Walt Whitman. The sidewalks are littered with postcards from God. The sidewalks are littered with postcards from God. So, as always, she's a storyteller, so here is the story that's making her point. I once was approached by one of those online companies that send out daily spiritual messages. You know the kind. Each day you'd get a pithy paragraph about peace or contentment or meditation. They were hunting for new writers and had somehow found me. I bet they had no idea what they were getting. So their editor asked for some sample postings and I obliged. Soon I got back a rather agitated call. "Excuse me, but what's with all the stories?" she asked in a tense voice. We wanted snappy, universal truths that people can relate to. Our organization is about God, not all these extraneous details. 2 balmy degrees. Yeah, we're at 0. Yuck. Thank you, Abigail. I appreciate that. That is a good one, isn't it? Yeah. Gives us pause in terms of those interactions, right? Our organization is about God, not all these extraneous details. If you want to write for us, keep the personalities out. But I couldn't. I had loved tales of the divine in regular life since I was a child. I obsessively collected them the way some people do rare wines or Barbies. Any story of a miracle or strange synchronicity held me captive. Over time, the divine and the mundane had become completely intertwined in my mind, one and the same. Now that fits with Thich Nhat Hanh talking about the sacredness of doing dishes, washing the dishes, right? That, you know, wax on, wax off. In the mundane is the divine. I still have a hard time wrapping my brain around that. I'm working on it, but I still have a hard time wrapping my brain around that. One and the same, she says. So I answered, well, what if God is the story? What if the divine is constantly igniting roadside flares to get our attention? What if there actually is a supreme organizing principle with a ribald and unbridled sense of humor? Sometimes you can see that sense of humor, right? And what if we each have this ardent inner suitor who's writing us love letters every day that often go unopened? She said she had to go. Maybe just as well. Some spiritual groups believe that as we evolve, all the details of our individuality are buffed away into sanitized white light sameness. You can kind of see that in places, right? Any uniqueness is derided as ego. You see this where members mimic an idea of how to be spiritual. Personal style, language, and mannerisms are erased or punished. An eerie, jargon-slinging, one-size-fits-all Stepford seeker emerges. We've all had experiences with that. You buy it hook, line, and sinker. You drink the Kool-Aid. And the other route? Well, maybe it's the raucous celebration of God's diversity, just like in nature. Is every flower the same color? Is every tree shaped the same? How about every rock? No, there's variety, there's difference, to the point where I have a friend who she and her husband feed the deer and the birds and all the other turkeys in their backyard. And she can pick out the individual deer. Their markings are different, how they move is different, their size is different. There's the gloriousness of that diversity. Same with human beings. Diversity, diversity, diversity. Yep, not a swear word. The way the lush field of wildflowers bursts open every spring, each type different, colorful, and bedazzled. Just take a look at saints and mystics throughout history. Eccentric and unique as hell. The whole lot. Uninterested in following spiritual rule books, they were on fire to know the undiluted truth of their own souls. We all know those people. I'm one of those people, and many find that to be kind of off-putting. I want to know the deep stuff. I don't want to waste my time on how's the weather. I'll talk about the weather for about 2.8 seconds, and then I want to know what's in your soul. Yeah, little off-putting to some people. But she says, many lovers of Jesus admit he was a straight-talking rabble-rouser who might not have been let into most modern churches. Amen to that. The Indian saint Zipruana lived on a pile of garbage, while the mystic Laleshwari wandered through the Calcutta streets half naked and mad with divine love. The Buddhist goddess Tara was born when a feisty princess was told by monks that she couldn't become enlightened as a woman. She proved them dead wrong and became a bodhisattva for all time. So, what if the highest expression of the personal divine is you? Precisely as you are in this very moment, in all your full, authentic, and wounded glory. Just wondering, we're it. We're it. See the God in everything. In everything. The dandelion that's growing up between the crack in the sidewalk, the bird that's flying across the sky, the guy who just cut you off in traffic, all of the divine. All of the divine. And sometimes we have a really hard time wrapping our brain around that, especially when the human behavior can be so shitty. It's like looking at some of the stuff that's going on in the government. How do we see the divine in that? That's our challenge. That's our call. That's what we're being called to. How do we not sink to that low level of vibration that is us versus them? Yes, see God in everything. And sometimes as an esoteric endeavor, it's pretty easy to say, oh yes, God's in everything. God's in the details. God's here, God's there, blah, blah. And then you're coming face to face with someone who's ranting and raving or hurting other people or all the things. And you go, how do I see the God in this? In this mess, how do I see the God? And oftentimes with those situations, natural disasters, man-made disasters, wars, etc., I go back to Mr. Rogers' mom, who said to him when he was upset about some of the crap that was going on in the world at that point, look for the helpers. In any horrible situation, look for the helpers. They're always there. And there's a divine shining example of God. So, hopefully this is helpful today. Yeah, let's take another breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Yes, angels are everywhere, including human angels and dog angels. Actually, there's one person who says that dogs come from the same realm as angels. Dogs are from the angelic realm. Animals are from the angelic realm. They aren't angels themselves necessarily, but they're from the angelic realm. And if you look at how they influence our lives, you can certainly see that. Certainly see that. Helping us through hard times. Yes, the helpers. And I was working with a client yesterday who was sexually assaulted when she was 2. And what we've worked through to is God doesn't stop horrible things from happening, but God's present with us as we're enduring the things that are going to turn us into who we're supposed to be. Can we still want to change things if God is in everything? I vote absolutely, absolutely. But there's probably horses, absolutely. Dolphins. I'll tell you my dolphin story, and then I'm going to go back to Carolyn's question. Dolphins. My friend Nancy was not healthy at all. Not healthy at all. And she and her husband went to swim with the dolphins. And he went first. And they came around and he put his hands on their dorsal fins and they took off. And she's floating in the water going, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't. They came around, she put her hands on their dorsal fins and they putted her back to shore. They read her energy. They knew she couldn't go fast. And they responded accordingly. How cool is that, right? So, can we want to change things? Yes, but I want us to take a good look at what is our motivation for wanting to change those things. Is it because in our human brain we think we know better? Is it because whatever is unfolding is so painful we are struggling to endure the pain? Is there something we're meant to learn from that particular situation we want to change, that when we are able to learn it, it'll resolve on its own? I think there's lots of things we want to take a look at, Carolyn, in terms of a desire to change something. Why am I wanting this to be different? Is there something in it being the way it is that's of value to me that I haven't yet picked up on? Sometimes it can be we need to shift our mindset about whatever it is. Jonelle, your name just rolled twice in a row. There's something here for you, girl. So seriously consider, and I would also suggest do some journaling on, because oftentimes stuff will blurp out the end of the pen and you're kind of like, where the hell did that come from? But it's your nugget. It's what you're needing to help you discern and decide and make sense out of, do I continue to try to change this situation, or do I change me in some way in this situation? Much to think about. Much to think about. So, let's rub our hands together. Let's all send Carolyn some energy. Some good, loving, healing energy. Because I have to tell you, yesterday that invocation that we did that involved this goddess with the wings enveloping us in her wings was so comforting and so lovely. I want you to feel that. We can spread this around to everybody who's on here. Everybody who knows somebody who's on here. Everybody who doesn't know anything about this. But feeling that, being enveloped in all of this energy from all of these people. Enveloped, supported, loved. And so it is. Have an awesome day, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.